Kant has noted that judicial efforts should be grounded in constitutional and legal principles while fostering an environment of empathy, warning that absence of either prevents the justice system from functioning effectively. The Supreme Court directed the National Judicial Academy under Justice Aniruddha Bose, I beg your pardon, to prepare comprehensive guidelines to inculcate sensitivity and compassion in judges handling sexual offences and other vulnerable cases. The court emphasized that these guidelines should be simple, practical, and avoid complex foreign terminologies, unlike previous Harvard-oriented handbooks. So, if I can go across to my colleague Sambhav Sharma, who is live with us on the broadcast for more on this. Sambhav, this is obviously a landmark judgment that we are seeing, but we are also seeing certain guidelines that will in fact be implemented as per the Supreme Court. This is something that they are all right. I believe I'll go back to my colleague. Also joining us on the broadcast is Saira Shah Halim, women's rights activist. Thank you so much, ma'am, for speaking to NewsX. We appreciate your time. Ma'am, we were just talking about this historic judgment where the Supreme Court has overturned the Allahabad High Court regarding preparation of rape attempt to an attempt to rape. Ma'am, how are you looking at this historic judgment? All right, we'll try to fix the connection with Saira Shah Halim, but let me go back to my colleague Sambhav. Sambhav, we were just talking about certain guidelines that the Supreme Court is talking about. It's directed the National Judicial Academy to form expert committees. It's talking about more sensitive judgments going forward and not to just follow that Oxford oriented handbooks in such cases.
Well, absolutely. Here the top court in its 15 pages, or around 15 pages of judgment, the three-judge bench of the top court has said that directed that a committee submit, that an expert committee should draft guidelines, and those guidelines must be simple, complicated legal expression. This is what the top court judgment has said on page number 10. The Supreme Court is directed that then an expert committee should draft guidelines which should be simple and comprehensive. Another very important point is that the top court has directed that committee submit this report within 3 months, and that the registry of the Supreme Court place the report before the Chief Justice for appropriate direction. So the Supreme Court will again look after what exactly the committee has proposed, whether the guidelines are simple, comprehensive, and not overloaded with complicated legal expressions. And also the top court has acknowledged on page number 7 that previous efforts to inculcate sensitivity in judicial processes may not have achieved the desired results, and also stated that no judgment can deliver complete justice if it ignores the factual realities, as our panelist and Justice Lokpal was also talking about. The top court has also stated that no judgment can deliver complete justice if ignores the factual realities and vulnerabilities faced by victims who are approaching the court. And the top court has also observed that the High Court's reasoning shows the, erroneous application of settled principle of criminal jurisprudence regarding the attempt. And these are certain directions. And Supreme Court has stayed the High Court, earlier judgment of the March 2025 judgment, and directed that the trial proceeds under section 376 of the Indian Penal Code, read with section 511 of Indian Penal Code and section 18 of Prevention of Children Against Sexual Offences Act. And if we talk about this particular judgment of the Allahabad High Court earlier on in March 2025, the Allahabad High Court delivered this judgment in a 2021 case. This is the backgrounder I am talking about. This was a
Absolutely,
2021
Sambhav.
case.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for all those details regarding the case. Let me, in fact, just rope in Justice Lokpal Singh on this. So, finally, when we are looking at such cases, obviously we'll see a better judgments going forward. Given that the Supreme Court has asked judges to be more sensitive and to show compassion in such cases. Obviously, they have declined to frame immediate guidelines, but they have stated that a committee will be formed which will draft some guidelines to help the judges deal with such sensitive cases going forward, sir.
National Judicial Academy Bhopal time to time commence some programs for the High Court judges, trial court judges, and the programs is just to update the honorable judges for the latest law. And in the present case, the Honorable Supreme Court has requested the director of the National Judicial Academy Bhopal to constitute a committee with the expert bodies of the lawyers, senior advocates, academicians, and social workers. So they may prepare a draft for the benefit of the children, and how the bail matters may and the offences against the children may be considered on its priority, and what can be done in a better way for the better trial of the sexual offences cases against the children. And
Absolutely.
that's why after when the committee will submit the report, the Honorable Supreme Court has observed in its judgment that the court will pass the appropriate instructions to all the high courts and the other courts.
Absolutely, sir. I thank you for your time and for speaking to NewsX. Let me rope in Taira Hassan for her final comments regarding this observation. Ma'am, do you believe that more victims will come forward seeing such a landmark judgment? All right. Let me in fact thank all my panelists for joining our